Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Caitlin here with another Wild Whisper design team video. Today I'm featuring the farmhouse collection again. I finished this layout last week and this time I'm making a component page to go with it. So it's going to be a little page that matches pretty well and I'm really proud with how it turned out. So I'm doing both sides of this pocket page, and then in my next design team video you'll see how I finish off this section of an album with another 12 by 12 page, which turned out different than I expected, so stay tuned for that next week. But for now, I'm going to show you guys how you can really stretch a collection when doing pocket pages. So what I did was I was mindful of the different directions of the patterns of my papers that I picked out. Always be careful of that. And what I plan on doing is using both sides of this paper. So one side will have something on this side, and then the other side will have a lighter more geometric pattern, and I'll use that side as well. So I'm going to use both sides of all of the patterns that I cut out today, and I actually use one sheet of paper for all of my paper for this, which is pretty cool. There's only 3 pockets to fill, and since I'm using one sheet of paper, it's technically 3 pieces of paper I'm cutting down, and again being mindful of the pattern because my other pockets run up and down instead of side to side, so I want to make sure the pattern of the barns is going the correct direction. That's always key. But I'm going to be using one sheet of paper for filling all 6 pockets, which you'll see me do. And of course you don't have to do this. It's just a great way to stretch your paper's limits. If you have a design you really, really love on both sides, this is an easy way to kind of do that. But again, totally up to you. I understand that there's different preferences out there, and it's just, you know, my personal taste, it worked out that way. Like I said, this one has a lighter colored geometric pattern on the back, which really lets the little barns pop on the one side. So now I have 2 sides to complete. One is like, they're both the same concept of feeding goats, so nothing too crazy. And if you watched last week's video, you'll know that I cut out one of these little hooves, and I thought it looked like a coffee bean, which it still does to me, but I figured if I don't use them with this paper now, I probably won't use them ever, because I'll still think they look like coffee beans, but with at least more goat photos, I think this kind of makes it a little bit better. I've decided to use an Amy Tangerine set of thickers for my title, and it just says "This Happened," which is really cute. And right now, the way I have my photos, I thought I was going to have to put the word "this" sideways somewhere, which would have worked just fine, but I instead switched my photos and used some of the white space in this photo to put the rest of my title, and it sort of flows just a little bit better. Again, these are Amy Tangerine thickers that I just had in my stash, and I found that this one was kind of blending in with the background too much, so I pull out a doily, and sorry for the camera shaking, that's because I hit it with my head while I was trying to reach for my doilies. Hence why I'm doing my craft room cleanup series on my channel, because my craft rooms need some help. And I can't wait to reorganize it. It's going to be so much better once I do. It's just taking me a little while to get all the content that I want out of this, so you guys can reflect on what I've done and what you might want to do in your craft room. So I'm working on all that still. But for September, I am featuring some beautiful Wild Whisper products, and I can't wait for you guys to see what's coming these next coming months. With the holidays coming up, you're going to love it. So if you haven't already, follow me on social media as well as Wild Whisper, because I always repost their items when they announce their new collections, because they usually do bundle sales where they'll bundle all their elements of their collection for a lower price than if you bought them all individually. So definitely be on the lookout for that if you haven't already. And they always release at the first of the month, so definitely be on the lookout for those. To add some texture to this layout, I have the foam and the doily, but that's not really a lot. I decided to pull out some wood buttons from my stash, which just add more to that rustic feel that goes with this collection. And like I mentioned in my last video, I really didn't think I had a lot to do with this collection. Like, I ordered it because it was during my month, but I didn't order anything else to go with it, so I really just got the paper pad. And of course, we don't have to feature this collection fully. We can mix and match as we please. The ladies at Wild Whisper are really great about that, working with what kind of inspires us at the moment. But the more I thought about it, the more I had great ways to use it, and it's a super adorable collection. And the more I think about it, the more this reminds me of the HGTV shows, where they use all the shiplap and they have that farmhouse feel, and that's like a new trend lately. that people are into for decorating their houses, for interior design and stuff like that. So kind of capitalizing on that and just going with the flow and using this collection. I'm really glad I picked it up. Like I've always said, Wild Whisper products are absolutely high quality. Their paper is so unique, and there's not a lot of paper like it on the market, especially the weight and texture of it. It's a very smooth, beautiful pattern paper. You can almost tell it has a glossy finish sometimes. So right now I'm going to apologize for the glare on my pocket page. I'm trying to switch around my lighting setup, and I'm also trying to convince my father that we could attach them to the ceiling, which is what a lot of people do with their lighting equipment, but so far no luck. But I'll still work on it. So you can see here that I'm working on a second title for this back of this page, and I pulled out this acetate word from Heidi Swap, but I originally thought I could just put a staple through it. But if you think about it, I'm using the other side of this paper, so I can't just put a staple through it, just like I couldn't wrap the washi tape around the other side. I just need to trim it at the edge because I can't just wrap it around because there's nowhere to hide it. So it's just something to think about if you're planning on doing something like this. I know there are a lot of people who used to do this. I think there was a lady on YouTube named Claire that used to do it, or was it Claudia? It might have been Claudia who used to do it, where she would use both sides of the pattern paper for her 12x12 layouts, which saves a lot of bulk on the album, I'd probably say. But it also scares me for things like staples and stitching. You can't do that on these sort of things. But I had a lot of fun trying to create this layout and trying to mix and match things, especially getting the orientations correct on the pattern papers. That was almost scary. I almost forgot to do that. And I'm adding some more texture with these wooden buttons. And like I mentioned, this is a coordinating page to the one I did last week, so if you haven't watched that, I'll have it linked down below. And it'll coordinate with next week's video, so stay tuned for that, another 12x12, which I'm really happy with how it turned out. Because although they use the same collection, they still have a slightly different feel between each of them. Like the first one was all red that you just saw there, just a little bit different than this one, which is more of a lighter, neutral palette. With a little pop of color. So that's pretty much it for this layout. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to use my code over at Wild Whisper. I have it down below always, just in case you guys want to pick anything up. And like I mentioned, follow them on social media so you guys see when the new releases come out, because you do not want to miss out on these beautiful collections that are coming out at the end of the year. Definitely don't want to miss them. But here are the close-up shots. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I have another video coming out next week to go with these, as well as more videos of all sorts of things. So I hope you stick around, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!